Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Everybody
Good
got up
morning.
nice and early to watch the show today
Ooh.
and
Yes.
and do
Indeed.
yoga and do all the other things. Happy
Coffee?
Thanksgiving. Yes.
Happy
Everyone
Happy
has their
Thanksgiving.
coffee.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
So we got to watch episode 2 of season 8. Thank you guys for joining us again. We had so
Mhm.
much fun last time that Vincent and Stephen decided that they would go ahead and join us again this week, hopefully going forward for every week. But we're
Yeah,
very, very happy to have you here. We've had some really good feedback about having people recap the show who have actually been in that tent. And I mean, you guys went all the way to the all 8 episodes for your season. So I think there's no one better to be joining us. And we're so
Mhm.
excited to have you here.
Yes.
Thank you so
And
Yeah.
much.
it's not like we kind of forced them at all.
No, we didn't.
It's like we're doing this again next week, right?
There was eager agreement all around.
Eager agreement.
Eager agreement. We'll call it that.
Do you? Okay. All right. Yes,
I'll
that's
blink
what it was.
twice means they're keeping me against my will.
Oh,
Next week he'll appear with like his ropes around his
yeah.
wrist. Yeah.
Oh, those handcuffs that you did for that cake you posted.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Do chocolate handcuffs.
That's a whole other episode.
Okay, all
They're
right.
there already this morning. That's awesome.
All right.
I
And
love this.
Vincent, let's not have any swear words this week so I can just upload this straight without having to
Yes,
go in
because
and
we
edit.
almost had one on the show this week.
We almost did.
Yes.
We almost did.
Oh,
Oh, yes, that's right. We almost did. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Can't those Alberta, with their
Yeah,
potty
well,
mouths.
yeah,
um,
Erica was pretty great this week, I have to say.
she was. She had
Mhm.
some
Yeah.
great one-liners.
Oh,
I wish I could have written them all down, but I was writing very quickly, just trying to keep up with the show so we could get out here earlier today because we have Thanksgiving later today. And I'm hoping we can just bang this out, have a nice lively chat, and then get on with the rest of our day. Steve has a very delicate task later on today, transporting a cake. So,
that
And
really is the worst part of cake making is when you actually have to transport a cake
yeah.
somewhere.
yes,
I
that's
think.
why I don't deliver ever.
Mhm.
Yeah, you should try living in Toronto.
Yeah.
There's potholes everywhere and speed
Mm.
bumps. The speed
The
bumps.
speed bumps. I went over one the other day in a parking lot because I take them to work and people pick up from my office. Thankfully, I had like super chilled this cake and there was nothing external that was fragile on it.
Mhm.
But I hit one of those really hard speed bumps and I went so slow, but my whole back end of my car just went thud. And I thought,
Oh,
oh
Oh,
no.
oh,
I can always show them the picture of what it looked like, but it was
Yeah.
okay.
that's the worst. That's the
totally,
worst
right?
feeling.
Here's
It's
the
always
bottle.
it's always the chocolate work that comes falling apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and that's Steven's specialty. So,
Yeah.
Can't wait to see this beauty.
yeah, can't wait. All right, so moving straight into Cookie Week, the
Cookie week.
signature stuffed cookies. Have you guys ever tried making a stuffed cookie?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
On my
So
list.
what
On
kind
my
of
list.
technique did you guys go about? Because we had
Mhm.
several different. We had the people, Elora used the tart. Was it Elora?
The tart ring,
Yeah.
yep.
Tart
Yeah, the
rings.
tart ring.
Yeah, and then we had Pamela who did the
Pamela.
cutouts and made
Yeah.
the little border for it to fill after it was baked. We had other people who filled them beforehand. So
Yeah.
what kind of thing did you guys do when you were what kind of tech?
I did it when I was just learning to bake, so it was a lovely failure.
Oh, perfect.
It was a pumpkin snickerdoodle stuffed with a cream cheese.
Mm.
Sounds
And no one
delish.
told me it would have been a good idea to maybe freeze the cream cheese center first.
Yep.
And,
Hmm.
not only did it burst through on some of them, the cookie just absorbed the cream cheese and
Mhm.
they tasted good, but
Yeah.
it was not successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have
So
you
yeah,
made them since?
no.
Okay. Have you made any stuffed cookies since?
I have made zero. I've eaten stuffed cookies since,
Okay.
and I have friends who make stuffed cookies who sometimes feed me, but I'm inspired again though to
Yeah, I bet.
go back to where I was, what I can do now, and after watching all of them and
Mhm.
different ideas and techniques,
Mhm.
Yes.
it
Yeah,
always
that was really
inspires me. The
helpful.
show always
Mhm.
inspires me.
Yeah. Oh, me
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
Vincent?
Vincent, your stuffed cookie adventures?
My stuffed cookie was actually a lot like Laura's. There's a Taiwanese pineapple cake cookie that they make. It's very famous in that area of the world, and it's delicious. Basically, it's pineapple filling surrounded by like a short crust. It's delicious. Yeah, it looked very similar to Laura's bake.
And did you make it in a tart ring as well? Is that how you made your cookie?
No, it's more like a little. It's a little bar. It's like a little cube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So same kind of
So
idea though, in like some sort of mold.
yeah,
The other thing
Like
actually,
Jen's.
I found Guy actually used like a little, like almost like a chocolate mold, like a silicone mold for his cookies. I saw, and I think there was
Jen
somebody
as
else,
well.
and
he did
Jen,
artwork.
Yeah.
yeah,
And Jen used the rectangular.
yeah, almost
mold.
like a financier kind of esque.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
That's actually really smart.
that's what the pineapple cookies look like. That I
okay.
did.
Yeah, I kind of I don't think I had in my mind at all using any kind of mold
Mhm.
for the stuffed cookies when they first mentioned it. So it was interesting to see the different concepts and the flavors.
Beautiful.
Some
Yeah.
amazing flavors in there.
Yes.
So Alora
That's
was pineapple and
classy.
jalapeno.
Yeah.
Jalapeno.
Yeah, that sounded
Um,
delicious.
Mhm.
And they
yeah.
looked, I mean, they were just pristine, her cookies.
Yeah, they were beautiful. She had her little signature pink roses on there
Yeah.
again. So it's like that looks a lot like her signature for the with the love cake for week 1.
It
I
did
think
look very, yep, I
we're gonna
agree.
see a lot of pink from her.
Bring it all on.
Yeah, pink is good.
Yep.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Beautiful.
And I think Anne would certainly agree with that color choice
Yes,
too.
definitely. Yeah, and they said it was good pineapple flavor and the jalapeno was really well balanced. So
Yes, that sounded like a delicious cookie.
It
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
it really would
That
have liked
sweet
to
with
try.
a little bit of that spicy kick to it. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
yum. And a few of the bakers actually did that. They had a few little spicy kicks to their cookies too,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
Yeah, nice to have that element of surprise, I think.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I was really interested in Erica's lime cream cheese spice cookie.
Mhm.
That sounded like it would be delicious. I'm a sucker for cream cheese, and you put
Me
cream
too.
cheese and spice together, and then
Mhm.
the lime was just like a little extra kick that I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm
that
really
extra.
excited about that combination. Mhm.
I'm just not sure how cream cheese bakes though. Like I guess it's like a cheesecake, right?
Yeah.
I think you would have to, well, maybe not have to, but it would be a good idea to, unless you're freezing it like Steve said,
Mhm.
it might be a good idea to like whip it up with something else so that it can actually bake into like a cheesecake type of thing.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it didn't really show, I don't think, or I don't remember on the fast, quick views that I did. But did she freeze her cream cheese filling?
Didn't show
Or it
that.
didn't show, right?
They
So
didn't show anything about that. And
yeah.
and I don't think that you have time to be freezing your centers, so they had to sort of work around that idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever technique she did use, I think she had a very successful cookie, and it was probably one of my favorites
Mhm.
from the signature challenge. And
Mhm.
her decor on her cookie was just spot on. It was
Yeah.
just so beautiful, elegant. I mean,
Very elegant.
it was a perfect cookie, I think,
Yeah.
from a flavor perspective, as well as for how she decorated it all up as well.
Yeah, Kyla said it was the most glamorous stuffed cookie she had
Yes.
ever seen.
Mhm.
And when Erica was putting her cookies together, she had one of her good one-liners when she was like, "Stop making comic book noises." I just thought that was hilarious.
Actually, and ironic because she actually says she's not an actual cookie person either.
Mhm.
So she's a bit of a snob, she said, when it
Yes.
comes to cookies. So, really ironic considering it was like seriously one of it was my favorite cookie out of the bunch of the signatures this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite?
Go ahead, Vincent.
No, you know what? I don't know.
I mean, I loved Alora's cookie,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but if it wasn't for the overdoneness, Jen's cookie
Oh,
just because she used the mold, it had such beautiful finished, like it was just a perfect square, and the finishing touches on it
The
were
charcuterie
gorgeous. And then
cookie.
the flavors,
Yeah.
with the fig and the blue cheese, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But when it was first described to me and then it was eaten, Patty's cookie,
Oh, yeah.
man, that sounded so good. Like
Yeah.
really.
Sweet and salty,
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
guanciale, pineapple
They
with
better not get rid of
tomato.
her because she's got me on food. She makes me
Oh,
laugh.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Bruno said it
other
tasted like a
other I know
pizza.
Steve was gonna like that cookie. Well, I think for me it was it's a toss up between a Laura's cookie
Mhm.
with the jalapeno pineapple jam and Marcus's cookie
Mm.
actually. Marcus had it's very similar to, unless I'm mixing it up. Hold on, maybe I'm mixing it up. No, I'm not. Marcus's cookie was he did sort of like a coconut pastry cream.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
But I think it was, he sort of mentioned on the show that it was similar to what we in Chinese called a gai mei bao. A gai mei bao is basically a coconut bun,
Yum.
and the middle, like the filling of the coconut bun, which I absolutely adore. So that in a cookie form, yeah, that's
Mhm.
all me. I'm not, and Steve, you don't know this about me, Steve, but the bacon thing, I can't.
Mm.
I I don't like bacon in my baked goods. I
Do you like
just
bacon on its own?
I can take it or
Easy,
I can
cowboy.
take
You better answer this one right.
I can take it or leave it.
Okay.
I love candied bacon. Like I can eat
Mm.
that all day long. But if I had a choice between having bacon and sausage at a brunch, it'd be
Wow.
Wait,
sausage all the time.
Steve is all about the
Steven.
bacon? I'm getting
Steven.
confused.
So you prefer sausage is what you're telling me.
I prefer sausage over anything
Okay.
else.
Okay.
Shocking.
So, Steve, what are you eating? Kosher bacon or
So
what?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to tell you the cake I made for Thanksgiving today is not the original flavor profile. I really came this close to making my a caramel bacon cake.
Oh,
If you
Oh,
haven't had a caramel bacon cake,
no.
I
yeah,
have
I think
not.
I need to
telling you,
make one.
got candied bacon just for Vincent. But
Love bacon.
yeah, no, because the bacon has the saltiness that I like with the sweet,
Mhm.
and I love to candy it. I do. I agree with Vincent. You got because then you've got that X because bacon can be so salty. I
Mhm.
only get low sodium bacon because I find low sodium bacon is still a mouthful of salt.
Mhm.
But to counter that salt, you have to have a lot of sugar. You got to have some sort of sweet going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Patty's, yeah, I was all
I'm
I
not
was all
sure.
over that flavor.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the sweet and salty, sweet and savory combination either. Like I kind of tend to like all savor. I mean, the jalapeno pineapple was a bit of an exception for me. Like I felt like that was something that I think I would enjoy, but putting the bacon, I'm with you, Vincent. I'm not 100% sure on if I would like to have bacon and baked goods. I had
Mm.
chocolate covered bacon one time. I just sucked
Ugh,
off all the chocolate and then was happy to enjoy the bacon.
the-
Yeah,
no.
I don't know about it. I mean, the
I'm just
majority
gonna
of
keep
her
notes here to
flavors.
decide if I'm coming back next week. So I'm gonna write this down if you don't mind.
You have to change my mind on it. I mean, I don't really have, I'm not like on a firm stance that no bacon, because I mean, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned, bacon's amazing. Put bacon on anything, I'm gonna eat it. I don't know for sure if I can imagine it enough is
Consider
probably
it as a seasoning in baking then. How about
okay.
that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
bacon bits.
Well, yeah, I don't have strips of bacon generally when I make a cake, or if I'm making bacon pastry cream, that type of thing.
Bacon pastry cream?
I made it on our season.
I'm sorry, I forgot
Remember
about it.
that.
Probably
And I
pushed it
made
out
him
of
and that's where I made the cardinal mistake is when Bruno looked at me in the eye and he says I'm getting some bacon but not enough flavor, and he looked at me, he says, so what did you do with the bacon fat? And that's when the light bulb went off on my head and I thought, should have subbed out half of my butter for
Yeah,
bacon
yeah,
fat
yeah,
in the
yeah,
pastry
yeah.
cream, and I've done it since. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
I,
I'm just
We'll
I
take
mean,
saying.
your word for that one. I
yeah,
don't know about the
I
pastry
I
cream with the
I
No, I
wish you
bacon,
want to
could have
but
taste
seen.
it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I wish you could have seen Vincent's face that day when everyone's making these delicate meringues, and he's like, "Who's cooking bacon?
Yeah.
Must be the Jewish guy."
yeah, yeah. That was something else that day. It was like I
Oh
think you
man.
were two benches behind me, and it's just like everybody's making meringues and all these delicate like macarons and stuff. And all of a sudden, it's like bacon. It was, but it was. I mean, I've used bacon fat in my pastry before, and it's quite delicious.
Mhm.
I have to say, yeah. But I think Steve said last week or some other time about pecan, no, uh, tarts, butter tarts,
Mhm.
like
Butter toast,
Mhm.
yeah.
best
Yeah, with
tart
the
you can,
bacon.
like pecan.
Mm,
No, sorry, not for me.
Mm.
right.
But I
I'm
haven't had
thinking.
yours, Steve. So you're gonna have to make me some butter tarts with bacon in it because I want to be convinced.
All right, I'll work on that. But
Yeah.
let us not now back to we cannot skip over Guillaume's.
Mm-mm.
No,
I'm going to bring it back a little bit.
I
That
was
red
gonna go there.
pepper and raspberry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm,
You know,
It's another
I
combination I want
raised
to
a
try.
Spockian eyebrow, and I'm thinking, will it work? Because a red pepper is sweet, though.
Yeah.
And but you know what? I have to go by what the judges said.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
now I'm
yeah,
going
I'm
to have
not
to
sure
try something.
about that either.
That was the combination aside from the pineapple and jalapeno that I was most intrigued by.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I
Same.
think I was thinking about how I would use that red pepper just without just to kind of sweeten it up a little bit. And I guess that the raspberry, the tartness of the raspberry with the sweetness of the red pepper, probably, I don't know, Vincent looks very unconvinced. So I feel like I'm trying
I
to
don't.
talk him into it, and I gotta shut up.
Plus, that was in a black, like a fudgy black cocoa cookie. So again,
Yes.
you have sort of that. I mean, it's black
The dark
cocoa.
taste, the
Yeah,
deep
you'd have
taste.
to have a lot of sugar in that to pull off that because you've got the tartness of the raspberries. You do have the sweetness of the red pepper, but you also have a little bit like a
Acidity.
Bitterness.
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course the black cocoa, all of that. Like I'm very intrigued at how
I'm
we put
intrigued.
all of those flavors
Yeah.
together, but Kyla loved it. She seemed to
Yeah.
really enjoy the whole flavor combo. So,
We should
And they
ask him
said,
for the recipe and try it.
and
well, maybe because he was Star Baker, that might be one of the recipes that they release.
they might.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
and they said it was really soft inside, which was kind of nice. So it might have
Mhm.
been cake-like.
Mhm.
So maybe, who knows? I mean, it looked great, and the story. It's just like, oh,
I
Yeah,
know.
I
Yes.
know.
And Stephen, were you impressed? Because last week, when somebody tried the caramel dome, it didn't work as successfully. I think that
Yes.
was Regin, but Guy pulled it off.
I heard the words caramel dome and I thought, oh boy, you're not making one, you're making 10. And yeah,
Mhm.
good for him.
Yeah.
like okay. So let's get back to the caramel dome thing. So when I make a caramel dome, I either use the back of a stainless steel um, uh,
Oh,
ladle,
oh,
Mhm.
oh,
Oh.
I
Mhm.
see.
or I will use silicone molds, the
Mhm.
back of silicone molds, right?
Yep.
So I never have any problems like ever.
Mm.
No, in the
But
real world, yeah, in the
I
real world
spray
you
it.
don't, but when you're rushing
In the
in the
tents.
tent, that's where the problems tend to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I suppose.
I
I don't
think
know what
I'm
I don't know what Rajan did.
used.
Did he use a balloon?
It I couldn't tell if it
I
was a
don't think you
balloon. It was
can because
something
the
he was
balloon's gonna
spraying
pop
over.
if you put hot caramel on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was hard to tell. I definitely think that Guillaume, making it as a caramel cage rather than a solid block
Right.
dome,
Mhm.
Right.
making them smaller,
Yeah.
and C, using the silicone molds, the back of the silicone molds.
Yeah.
I think all three of those things helped so that they weren't going to be as in danger of cracking as Rajan was last week.
And
For sure.
speaking of Rajan, his idea for his cookie, I loved.
Mhm.
I so wish he
Yes.
would have pulled that off because the idea of cookies shaped and looking like dipped
Strawberries.
strawberries
Chocolate dipped
was just
strawberries.
magnificent to
Brilliant.
me. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and he got the flavor. They were just
yeah,
underbaked.
Underbaked.
as
And
they
that
would be
makes
when they're that thick. you know?
Yeah. And that seems to be, unfortunately, Rejan's downfall, is that he just needs that extra minute or two in the oven. Because I think we've heard that that's been a common challenge he's had pretty much all 4 bakes that we've seen so far.
Well,
Yep.
maybe if Anne would stop jump scaring him, then
That
maybe he'd
was
have more time.
hysterical.
That was so funny. Oh my goodness.
That was
I
so
swear,
funny.
I mean, yeah, I love him. I love him.
Yeah, he's hilarious. I really enjoyed watching him. I'm gonna miss having him in the tent.
Oh my God, I'm
That's
so
for
sad.
sure. Yeah, and he had the mint in there, which I think is a really nice
Mhm.
combination with strawberry.
Yeah.
Mint
Yeah.
and strawberries are delicious.
Oh, so
Mhm.
good.
Good
And I
combination.
hate mint. I hate mint, but I love it with strawberry.
Interesting.
Yep. Yep.
Do you like it with bacon?
Ooh, that's a thought.
No,
Mm.
not a
Nope.
thought.
Yeah.
That
Next time we get together, you might be in for a surprise, Vincent.
That would be fun. Okay, so Pamela brought out the Saskatoon powder.
Yes.
Berries.
Big Berry is back in town.
Bingo.
And I dried Saskatoon berry. I mean,
Yeah,
I haven't had trouble
Saskatoon
finding
berry
any dried
powder.
normal berries, legitimate berries.
Oh, I found some Saskatoon berry powder.
Really?
Yeah, I had a really small little like
Yeah. They
specialty
got to you
food
too.
store.
They got to you.
Yeah. And I'm like, I have to pick it up.
That's too funny. And she was putting a little bit of color in there as well because she said that the Saskatoon powder turns, what was it, like death
Corpse, like a
mask spray or
corpse.
Like
something?
a corpse.
But it
Corpse
does. That's what
spray.
happens with blueberry. It looks so beautiful till you mix it in with stuff, and then
Yeah.
it goes like,
And
oh,
then
what died in here?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like she maybe didn't put enough of the color in there. I mean, we had a bit of the purple shade, but at the end, it actually still looked a little bit more gray than I had expected it
Mhm.
to. But I love the idea of making a badge. I loved the idea that she had that border on there and filled the
Mhm.
cookies afterward.
Yeah.
And that she was honoring her brother who's in Saskatchewan as an RCMP. And I just made the connection
With the berry?
with the berry.
Ding. Did it just get brighter in here?
Hey, it was 7 o'clock in the morning when I was watching this.
her bakes are all connected, and just like her signature or her showstopper bake, same thing. Like, I mean, she's clever. She's very clever. The banana split cake, the Saskatoon berry, and honoring her brother who lives in Saskatchewan. I won't move forward to her showstopper quite yet, but I'm like, I'm on to you, Pamela. You think these things through. Very, very
She is
mindful.
thoughtful.
Yep.
Yes. And then Rita made a s'mores cookie. And she made her own marshmallow, which apparently people were quite concerned about. She made it twice.
Nice.
And the finished product. What are you giggling?
I was just going back and thinking about the whole like pulling the marshmallow. It was just such a riot, and she's such a riot, right?
Clean up on aisle 9.
And Bruno's like, I'm fighting with the marshmallow.
I think I lost.
Yeah. But it was unfortunately a bit rubbery, which is sad. They looked amazing. She had a chocolate truffle filling with dulce de leche and that torched marshmallow. If it had been spot on, I think that cookie would have been a winner.
Yeah.
Now, a hint for those of you at home, what I would have done, again, you want to make the marshmallow because it shows a technique. And I know I made a marshmallow, the meringue challenge that we had, and I would never do that again. But to get the exact same flavor and a similar, just make Italian meringue and torch it.
That's exactly what I was yelling at
when the first one
screen.
doesn't work, pivot. I know it's hard in the moment, but when I make a s'mores cake, I'm not making marshmallow. It's Italian meringue, torch it. It's exact same flavor. It's beautiful, but maybe she wanted that mouthfeel of a marshmallow as well.
So what is the additive then when you're making it into marshmallow?
Gelatin.
Okay.
And if you put too much, well,
it's rubbery. Okay. Yeah. I've never tried making marshmallow, but
it's not so bad.
I have done the meringue and then toasting it.
It is messy. Yeah.
It looks messy.
I've made a s'mores cake as well, and to get that toasted marshmallow flavor in the icing, like I made a Swiss meringue icing with toasted marshmallow Swiss meringue icing, and I was trying to figure out how do I do this? How do I do this? So I did the same as Steve suggested. I made Italian meringue or Swiss meringue actually, and I torched it, the top of it after it was meringue, and then whipped it again, torched it again, whipped it again, torched it again, whipped it again. And then I went out and bought some fluff.
Yeah.
Oh,
I poured that onto a baking tray and I torched the heck out of it.
Mhm.
And I scraped off the top, threw it in, torched some more, scraped off. And I just kept on doing that until it was like this burnt looking meringue black in it. It was delicious.
the
Yeah,
flavor is
It was
awesome.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that with the fluff also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a simple bake,
in
you
the
could do
oven.
that with Rice Krispie Squares.
Yeah, that would be good.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
FYI, if you know,
You mean top Rice Krispie Squares with it, or just toast the Rice?
no,
Krispies?
toast your marshmallows
Toast your
before you
marshmallow
throw in
before you
your
put 'em
Rice
in.
make
Krispies.
them.
Yep.
That sounds
And then you can dip
good.
them in chocolate, and then you have a s'mores Rice
Mhm.
Krispie Square.
Exactly.
Is that
Super easy.
baking?
And then you can sprinkle some graham cracker.
Sounds good. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
never
no.
said it was.
What did you say,
No,
Vincent?
it's
Baking?
according to Buddy Velastro, that's baking. Anything
Baking.
with a Rice Krispie Square is baking in his world. Ah.
Remember those commercials back in the olden days of Rice Krispies where people they'd come out of the kitchen with this, beautiful batch of Rice Krispie Squares and they've got flour everywhere and it's like they're like,
Where were you
"Oh,
using
God."
flowers?
Remember that one?
For those at home who have not made Rice Krispie Squares, there's no flour in Rice Krispie
No.
Squares. Unless you're making the Rice Krispies from scratch, which would be stupid.
No,
There's
but it was
probably
the
no
whole-
flour in that either.
No, because
All right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Pamela got some really good feedback. Patty also got really good feedback.
Mhm.
Bruno said it tastes like a pizza. They said it was a perfect cookie. Elora had really good feedback as well. Her flavors were really balanced. The pineapple flavor was good. We had 2 people doing pineapple in that challenge. So yeah, it sounds like for the most part, aside from a couple of underbaking and overbaking issues, a little bit of issues with the marshmallow, it pretty successful. Nobody lost
Yeah.
the filling from their cookies.
Mm-hmm.
They were all stuffed appropriately, which is good.
And I was
Stuffed
thinking
and so appropriate for Thanksgiving.
True.
it is. That's true. True.
Yeah.
Somebody should have
and
did a
they do that.
stuffed turkey one.
Yes. Why weren't they thinking
Oh.
about that in May and June?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, do you know when that episode will be airing though?
No.
No. So
Although the when we had to do the our technical challenge with the mousse cake for it again, same idea. It didn't really dawn on us that we're making this spider web on the top and everything. It wasn't until, oh right, that's going to fall on Halloween weekend.
Right.
Mhm.
And you look back to the season before us, right? When they bumped it to the next year, their technical challenge was that turned on the side Swiss roll, and they had to temper the ruby chocolate and make hearts, and it premiered on Valentine's Day. So they know what's going on.
Yeah.
They don't,
Yeah, the
but they don't
Cupid
let
cake.
you know what's going on.
Yeah, the Cupid cake was fun. I liked that one. Okay, then the technical. Vincent did not like this technical.
Oh, God. What a nightmare.
Well, because at the end of the day, the question is asked again: is that baking?
I guess, yeah, if you're just putting it in a
Well,
water line.
It's baking, but the thing is, it's just like who the heck would make these things, right? I mean,
Oh, I'm
go to
so
the
ready to
dollar
make them
store.
now.
I am looking forward to
I'm
making
really
them
excited.
actually.
oh really? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can only
I
look
really
forward to
am.
it because it means I have to buy another piece of equipment.
I have
have
one
one.
already.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Well, Portuguese pizzella cookies are very
Right.
Yeah.
popular and yeah.
And
So
I
I have-
bought one to do the stroopwafel challenge.
Mm.
So it wasn't perfect for stroopwafels, but it will work for this, I think, a little bit
But
better.
they'd be delicious, as horrible as they are from the store.
Yes.
As you're using
Right?
actual food and flavors this time. So I was
Exactly.
excited. I'm excited to know what they can taste like if you make them from scratch. So
Yeah.
please let me know when you do make them because
Yes.
I know you're about to.
I think mine are going to be strawberry instead of raspberry because I happen to have a ton of the strawberry, freeze-dried strawberries. So I'll probably use that instead. Although, Amazon, I missed Prime Days, but I'll probably hop on Amazon to get some freeze-dried raspberries too. Yeah, so how do you guys feel everybody did with that? That was very pink. Laura must have been like in her element.
What was it? Rita's was
Does
really,
work.
really soft.
Rita's
And
was
Rita's was
screaming.
like off the charts pink.
Rita's was neon.
Yeah.
yeah, well, and really, really vibrant.
Yeah.
But like, okay, you gotta know that waffle cookies are not like bending, like she's
Yeah.
like doing this to it, right? And it's sort of flopping around. I'm thinking that's not a good thing. So, but she was very funny, but it's just it needs to be crispy, right? That's the
Mhm.
whole idea.
Well, I
I
don't think
would
that. Oh, go
I
ahead.
would hope that they, because when they give you the technical challenge, um, it's essentially just to make what you need to make, and they give you. But I'm hoping for a recipe like that because really to use a waffle iron, especially if you've not used one, you
Mhm.
Mhm.
should be giving a sacrificial one. So hopefully the recipe called for enough that they
Mhm.
could make one, and hope they had the
Mhm.
wherewithal to say, I'm going to make one and judge how long this is going to take to make and let it cool. I
Yeah.
mean, you've got a million other
Yeah.
things going on,
Then
but
you can
really you
see.
got to do that on the first one
Yeah.
because it's going to come out soft.
Mhm.
Within a minute, it should be crispy. And then from there, okay, I know now how I have to adjust it for all the real ones I'm going to use.
Yeah.
Well,
You hope.
I think they had enough for sure because Guillaume cut his and they all shattered because he let
Mhm.
them
Right.
fall.
Mhm.
But I would imagine that they had enough. But somebody was splitting them in half.
Erica split
Like
hers in half.
That's why they were so thin.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
missed that.
I was thinking, what?
And
Why?
and didn't use any raspberry powder in the
Oh.
buttercream
Oh,
She realized she forgot it though.
yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are these
Right.
lights?
But then when they were ranking everyone, and I was thinking, so how bad were some of them that Alora finished like in the top 3 or 4, and
Or
she only had
six?
2 layers.
Three.
Yeah.
No, Elora.
She
Elora
was
was
in
three.
third.
She
Oh
was
Yeah.
no, so
third. Yeah.
Erica was
Finished third. Yeah. So how bad were the rest of them? And it came down to a lot of really mushy, gooey cookies, I think.
Lots. I think the
Yeah.
vast majority of them were undercooked. In fact, I think
Mhm.
Guillaume might have been the only one who actually like slayed
Did
that
the right
technical
baking time.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the right baking time.
there were two that snapped. I remember the making comment.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, just I don't know.
So I don't think this was as bad as the pirouette cookies, though.
Oh
No.
no, you don't get burnt fingers and all that stuff. Like, yeah, the pirouettes are crazy.
Yeah.
And plus, I didn't know for the pirouettes. I didn't know what the texture of the inside was supposed to be like.
Mm.
You know, so I made mine. I think I was okay, but it's just I just didn't have time to fill them, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
But yeah, these ones gave me like they sort of brought me right back to
Little
pirouettes.
PTSD.
Yeah, I mean you have to
I
cut
could
them.
I could feel Marion
Oh
because
gosh.
she
Oh,
hates them. Of everyone on the season, she probably hates them the most.
Oh, Marianne.
didn't she
Oh, we
stomp
love you,
on
Marianne.
hers?
No,
That
Or
was
was that
Amanda in
well,
the
that was
room with me.
Amanda. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, patties were actually too thick, so that's why she
Yeah,
ended up
thick.
they were thick, yeah, so
They
thick
were
that it looked like
with
a raw
3
center.
C's thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pamela's, I thought looked beautiful. Like I loved her chocolate decor. Her
Mhm.
ring was like on
Gold.
absolute point, but the
Oh, it
rest of it
matched her
just wasn't there.
dress. Matched her dress exactly. The shade that she the shade of pink, very pale pink, but I was just like that looks so pretty together with her dress.
Because I
But then
think you
they
have to
said that,
almost go ahead, Vince.
sorry, I didn't they say the voiceover was supposed to be like cooking for 6 to 8 minutes? I would never
Um,
even think that.
No,
Three
it
and a
was
no,
half
three and a
three
to
and
half
a
to
half to
four.
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 Or
Yeah.
3.5. Oh, okay. Because I was thinking 6 to 8 minutes. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you have to over bake that cookie so that, because while it's in contact with buttercream, it's going to soften it if it's not completely crisp as well. So you better err on the side of over baking that than under baking that for sure. Because if you just barely nail it and it's got that snap in contact with the buttercream for too long, and you might lose the snap. So
Well, Rajon did it a little too long, and his ended up with that browning on it, which doesn't work either. So
there's a fine line.
Very
fine line with these technicals.
Yeah. It's almost like they're trying to trap them.
Right?
But once you get the timing down and you set that timer, it's just bang, 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 bang. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's assembly line.
I felt really bad for Elora when she was counting how many she had, and she was like 1, 2, got to 11, and then she was like, or 2, sorry. Then she counted the last one, and I was like, but there's only 2 wafers each for those last 2 that she's going to put together. And then I was like, oh my gosh, did she only put two layers for each? And sure enough, she had only put 2 layers.
But her piping was so good, they said.
That looked beautiful.
And her flavors and that, and everyone's mushy.
But okay, so you guys being in the tent, your experience, she basically did 2/3 of the challenge, really, when you look at it. 2 out of the 3, layers. Coming in third was...
Yeah, I thought she'd be a lot lower than that.
Me too.
Like, I didn't think that she would be at the bottom because there was some monstrosities.
Yeah.
But then it begs the question, how bad was bad? Like, what didn't we see? How really maybe inedible were some of them that she ended up in third? Because you're right. That takes time to bake all the cookies.
Yeah.
So you got away with not baking a third of your cookies, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. So hence why the rest of it was so good. She had extra time to get her fillings, to do that beautiful piping, to, whatever. But good on her. Well done, but
she did a beautiful job. She had a good snap on the cookies, and I think really that's probably what it came down to, is that everybody else was wooble wooble wooble.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
So it looks like that was, what are those, must-have criteria? So obviously the snap had to be up there because,
because that's the baking part.
I would have put it down a little further down the list. I think I'll put it down to like 5, just because she didn't fill the brief or so I don't know.
Yeah, but Guillaume got first place and he didn't temper his chocolate.
Yeah.
Tempering chocolate is a minor mistake, I think.
Is it though?
Chocolate guy.
Or is it
the chocolate guy? Yes.
Hence walls, is it? I think is what we're looking at.
The ones that we buy in the store don't have tempered chocolate on them.
No, they don't. That was just, we're going to add extra to you now, because they do that. They definitely in those technicals, they add things that don't exist in the real world just because, you might have an extra 5 minutes, so we're going to give you 10 minutes more worth of work.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Between the first and second place, right?
Yeah. So Jen got second.
It was between the chocolate not being tempered or the cookie being soft.
Yeah.
I would go with the tempered chocolate being less of a thing than soft cookie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's about the cookie. It's about the actual cookie itself and having the right texture.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jen had the perfect color. Her cookies were soft, so they needed a little more baking time, but it was a good attempt. And I think that's probably, it makes sense to have her as second and Guillaume as first.
I'm going to fight for Guillaume.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're wearing your
I will not get in your way.
In homage to Guillaume today. Cristina also has hers on. I think we know that you're on his side. Ooh, there we go. All right. My goodness gracious. What is this turning into? Moving on to the showstopper. And it was the gun show. It was a cookie map.
Okay, so the cookie, before we go on with the cookie map, I'm going to give props to season 5 here, because let's face it, the cookie map came about because of Amanda. because Amanda on our showstopper, we
Mhm.
had to do the mosaics, and
Yeah.
Amanda did a map of PEI. And as soon as I heard a map,
Yeah.
I said, Amanda's was so incredible that they had to make an entire showstopper
Nice.
out of that.
I
Very.
wrote it down. Amanda would have killed it.
Yeah, she would have. We know she would have. Props to Amanda.
Yes.
Okay, so what did you guys think? What was your first thought when you thought of, or when they announced that it was a cookie map? What did you guys have in mind? Because there are a lot of people thinking outside of the box, I think, in this. And
I was thinking that I am not as creative as I should be, because
Exactly.
I would have taken it too literally. I would have made a map of something. Oops, sorry.
That's okay.
My bad. Sorry, bad.
Yeah, I like to, I mean, that was, my head went to a map. Like, okay, cool, I'm gonna make it. But then as I saw their ideas, then it's the old I hope. I hope I would have taken and maybe bounced the idea off some people, and someone would have come up with that, or I would have come up with it in talking. I hope.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have, but
I think culinary may have directed people a little bit by just saying it doesn't have to be a regular map. It can be, but then we don't also, when we get our briefs, right? Sometimes the brief will say it doesn't have to be a map. It can be something like this, and they will also give you examples, like photographic examples of what they are trying to explain. So this is a map, a journey map, or this is a hyperventilation map, or whatever the case may be, or a map of a brain. So they would sort of give you a little sort of tidbits and guide you in a certain direction.
Yeah.
But they came up with some amazing ideas.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't they though?
Like,
yeah.
Holy cow. I mean, I don't know when you want to talk about Guillaume's, but
oh my gosh.
Let's start there. I mean,
yeah, start with Guillaume.
Like not just the way it looked, the thought behind that thing, like, is just unbelievable.
Well, he's a shrink.
Yeah, I was going to say he channeled what he does professionally, right? And it was so close to him. But what I love about Guillaume is that every one of his bakes has such a beautiful story behind it. There's so much meaning behind everything, and the love that pours out of how he does things. Seriously, I called him being that wild card last week. Wow, he really rose to the occasion this week with
he really did,
just absolutely slaying it.
He's in my top 3, and you got the king of stories sitting in the other room there. So.
Yeah, definitely that Guillaume's sympathetic nervous system, that was pretty amazing. And how when they were talking about, and this happened, and then this happened, and this, and he's like, yes, right now it's happening. that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can imagine.
Because it was so apropos for the tent. It really was.
100%. I loved Rita's skeleton track, and how she did that with the isomalt.
And her daughter's an Olympian. There's a nice revelation.
How cool
in skeleton, like the craziest of sports. I love that.
Yeah.
And I thought the heart-stopping moment of the entire show when she was moving her isomalts over to Wafer Cookie, I literally was like holding my breath as she was doing that.
And Bruno was walking by watching, and I was like, "Don't walk, stop, just stand there." I would have just been like, "Nobody move, wait until she's done this." It was great.
Crazy.
They also said she had great flavors. So she did a cinnamon sugar cookie, and then she had that isomalt track on there, which was very, very good. I think that kind of moved Rita forward really, really well today. Yeah. Alora took it literally and did a map of Bangladesh.
But a culinary map.
Yes.
That was the fun part of it.
Yeah.
All out of marzipan, including
grains of rice.
Yeah. Like fine detail. I mean, it was beautiful. I loved her presentation of that.
She could have made the Rice Krispie Squares. Thank
Rice
you.
cereal treats, I believe, is what you're looking for.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, on
Rice
this pod,
cereal.
we can say Rice
On
Krispies.
this podcast, we can. I really loved her flavors, the idea. So
Mhm.
the malted milk powder with chocolate chip, and then the cardamom and Nigella shortbread. That all sounded really, really, really good to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the execution.
What's Nigella?
Don't ask me. That all sounds good.
Is this
I
what
have no
She's a
idea what that.
beautiful British baker, is Nigella.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, okay, let's look it up. I didn't get a chance to look
I
at.
didn't either.
I looked up
I believe she uses a
Nako.
microwave when she wants to warm things up.
A microwave. They kind of look like little poppy seeds, but not quite. Like more like in between a black sesame seed and a poppy seed almost, but I'm not sure what the flavor that would impart.
Yeah, I wonder what it tastes like.
Hmm.
They
It's
are
pretty
also
though.
known as black caraway or
Oh,
black cumin or fennel like what?
Okay,
There's
so
a
it's
whole
got
bunch of different.
a liquor sheet kind of taste.
okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
out
think,
then.
Yeah.
I would hate it. But I did.
Caraway, I'm the game for, but fennel, no.
Right. Same. Caraway, good.
But
Fennel.
it also is known as black cumin, black onion seed, black sesame seed. It's like, wait, why are they?
Those are lots of different flavors.
That's
Okay,
very.
it doesn't taste like. So what it tastes like is onion, oregano, and black pepper.
Okay.
And the
Mm.
perception of these flavors can differ from person to person. So some may taste a slightly nutty flavor as well. So maybe it's like a whole
Oh,
cilantro
okay, so
thing,
that
and
would
it
be
depends
good.
on your
Yeah.
chemical makeup. So
I
it'll
like
taste
it.
different to everybody. Yeah.
I think
I
I've
love-
got to try something with that.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her other cookie though, the malted milk chocolate, chocolate
Yeah.
chip. Like that sounded great.
Yeah.
Malted milk, anything I love. So,
Salty and pleasant, quote
Mm.
unquote.
very nice.
Yes, it sounds good. And Jen went abstract. You know what? I was thinking of Vincent when I was looking at Jen's because I loved the precision of it. I thought it was beautiful.
It was incredible.
It just absolutely did. And smart going with the marzipan rather than having to actually do any kind of royal icing flooding or interfering with the flavor of the cookies with that sweet, sweet icing that you often get.
Yeah.
Oh, so she did imprint sheets?
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she
Oh,
made
that's nice.
I'm assuming she made the marzipan, but I didn't see that. But yeah, all those textures she did with the
Oh, okay. Because when they did a close-up shot, I thought, wow, that's some precision icing.
Mhm.
yeah, no,
But yeah, okay.
you can get a beautiful look, and it was perfect for the texture of what she was going through, going with, not going through, going with in the process of making sweaters. And so, yeah, I thought it just looked beautiful, and I loved just how neat and tidy everything was, and how angular everything was. You know,
It was very graphic.
Yeah.
beautiful.
It was beautiful.
I thought it was very smart bake as well, because in terms of the actual cookies, especially the what are those? The octagon cookies? Is that what she had? Or no,
Is
it was
that
she not an
hexagon?
octagon. Hexagon.
Hexagon.
The hexagon cookies that she used, I thought were really smart as well, right? Because it's one cookie. So from a just a speed of being able to do things, just very, very smart time management. I found with that. And I loved her little whipped shortbread sheep cookies. They were so cute and adorable.
So
they
cute.
didn't, unfortunately, talk about the actual cookie itself. But oh my goodness, they were just perfectly executed. And her marzipan sweater, I could eat it all up.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
So good.
The ginger snaps with the raspberry jam were a little bit underbaked, they said, unfortunately. So she went from one extreme to the other, which is kind of
And unfortunately, they didn't talk about, like you said, the whipped shortbreads either. But like for me, cookies like that, like sugar cookies, for instance, I love sugar cookies with the royal icing, and I think it needs the royal icing to get that, But and marzipan, I'm not a big fan of marzipan anyway, but they looked amazing. If you like that almond marzipan thing, then I'm sure they were delicious.
Yeah, I'd be all over those.
Yeah, I was more thinking about how fast can you do it, and that made it definitely faster. Being able to be more, do more with it because you are not sitting there having to pipe all those different things.
Well, I couldn't stop thinking about this cookie because this challenge, because I thought, okay, given what we did in season 5 and what Amy did in season 5, she could have just burned through these things by, just doing another template and just like smearing a bunch of stuff and just like, okay, here's a map, like a really intricate map, right? And it could be, I'm surprised that nobody did that after seeing what Amy did.
That was my thought too. Like, how did
I
no
could
one
have
make a page out of that book?
Yeah, because I would have, or another season they did like the 3D. Who was it that did the 3D cookie press the cookie cutter? Was it Sheldon? Did Sheldon did a cookie cutter? Like he did like 3 different cookie cutters, and
That
he
he
made this
made.
incredible, like lacy, beautiful. But I'm surprised that they didn't take a page out of those things, right? Like, not a lot of us have like the wherewithal to make a 3D. I don't.
But you can get people to make them. They're so, they're omnipresent now, the 3D printers that I'm sure you could find a place that would do it for you, even if you didn't have one or knew someone who had one. Because I remember when I was making mine, I mean, I had cardboard.
Me too.
And that's I had a bag that had 85 pieces of cardboard, and I'm putting it on shortbread, cutting it out by hand in a boiling hot tent, and I had to keep throwing it back in the fridge. Like, and when I saw what Amy did, that was my first thought today too. Watching that was like, how did no one? They're fans of the show. You saw what Amy did. Like, one of you had to have just come up with the idea of how can I assembly line this? And I think that Jen took a page out of that by doing the press of the marzipan. But yeah.
No,
for all you future bakers, speed.
Speed.
Yeah, and that gave her enough time to really work on the fine details of all the marzipan work that was on there that added to such beauty on her whole cake. So, but I guess you can look at it a couple of different ways, right? Did she play it too safe? That design?
I don't think so. Okay. I think she did something different from what everybody else was doing. She made something beautiful, and she didn't just leave it as like tiles with patterns on them. She had all those extra little bits that really kind of finished it up. So yeah, I wouldn't see it as playing it too safe, but
I think it was just smart. But
yeah.
But we had some creative bakes out there, right?
For sure. Marcus did his board game of the years of his life with 10 different colors, which is a pain in the butt mixing all those different colors. That takes a ton of time right off the bat.
And then piping all of those individual cookies as well.
Yeah.
Does anybody else absolutely love Marcus because he's got a little stuffed piggy that he actually brings with him everywhere?
But he left it at the hotel. He didn't bring it with him. Like, you got to have that in the tent. When he said he left it at the hotel, I was mortified because I had my grandmother's cutter with me, and that was on my station every time.
I don't think it's a good luck charm though. I think it's like a support animal thing.
Yeah, I know, but even more reason to have it there. Even if and then if again, how adorable would the shots be if you could see it attached to the mixer? Maybe it's hiding underneath one day with the trays. Like it could be like last year they had the thing with the baguette, right? Where when they posted on social media with the baguette that was floating around the tent. Would be a great idea with that pig just showing up everywhere, all over Marcus's station.
Well, maybe we'll see a special guest appearance by Piggy in a future episode.
You will. I'm pretty sure you will.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
There will be another bake that is more Piggy centric, maybe.
I see bacon in the future. Sorry.
Vincent chagrin.
Oh no!
What happened to the piggy? He's in the bake today.
Oh, that's terrible.
Where's Piggy? Nobody knows where Piggy might be. May I present my bacon dish?
Oh no!
Somehow stuffed pig.
Oh, go ahead.
Tenderloin.
Stuffed pig.
Stuffed pork tenderloin.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Oh, that. See, now we're foreshadowing for next week.
Yeah, because that is Savory Week is going to be good, but it has no place in this cookie map discussion.
No.
Dang.
Especially
Okay.
not with poor little Piggy.
Lisa's bringing us all back.
Trying to keep us on track. Erica had a lot of piping to do.
Mhm.
She did a map of Alberta. She did the regions of Alberta. I really like the flavors that she brought in. Not necessarily, I don't know what choke cherries taste like, but I liked that she did something that really tied in with her bake. She had the pine nut brittle. She's doing a brittle again. She's got coffee brittle last week, and she's got pine nut brittle this week. And then she had the choke cherry shortbread. And they said there wasn't enough pine, but pine nut is not the same as pine. Did she have actual pine flavor
No,
in there as well?
said, no.
So was it the pine nut
Pine
that
nuts?
Kyla was saying she
Yeah.
wanted more of?
Yeah.
Well, they're expensive.
The show's paying for it at this point.
I know.
Practice with 3, and then in your actual bake, use 33.
Yeah. There you go. Yes.
Definitely a good idea. She did a lot of like the pointillism type of details on her map, which I think was smart because then she still had to flood a lot of cookies, but then to add the little details and textures to it, I don't know what Vincent's thinking there, but he's got a smile on his face, so I want to hear it.
I have a note here. It's like her piping technique needs a little work.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
It's like, okay, this is going to be a hot mess, but she pulled it off and it looked great.
And it was classic Erica, though. It really, like, we already feel like we know her well enough to know, like, oh yeah, that was so Erica, how she was like, just kind of, oh, okay, oh, here we go.
Wait, whatever.
Hey, she pulled it off. And I think for the purpose of the bake and her map, it told the story that it needed to tell. So, and when you look at like a map of like ecological regions and stuff, like when you see something like that in a textbook, for example, it would probably look very similar to what she actually presented. So while I agree with you, Vincent, I think there could have been a little bit more precision, or she could have actually probably did maybe a thicker royal icing and actually did a little bit like of more definition for the trees and bushes that were represented. I think for the purposes of the exercise, props to her.
No, they look great.
Yeah.
And so my only comment, because it was like she did do the flood border, and it's like spilling over. It's like, what is this, a hurricane? Like, what's happening over here?
And there came another one of her one-liners about how she's very aware that she would make a very bad beaver.
I love it.
I can't remember exactly how she worded it. It was better than what I just said.
That was exactly what she said.
That's exactly what she said.
Okay, good.
It stopped me in my tracks.
Let's move on, shall we?
What I was thinking about a lot for those who were doing the flooding and then the details on top of that flooding, there's not a lot of time for that first layer of flooding to dry. So unless you're doing a wet on wet technique where you're wanting the design to actually sink into it, I just don't know how they pulled that off. So I'm really giving them a lot of props for.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah. Who else? Okay, so Rejan's garden with the tomato.
I loved Rejan's garden.
Yeah.
Wasn't it
looked beautiful?
Yeah.
I know. It was gorgeous.
Stunning.
And I love the idea of the using the tomato brown sugar and cinnamon cookies and the potato and cranberry cookies. I love the idea behind it. I totally understood why it tasted a little bit gummy for the potato one, because when you got that starch of the potato coming out, describing it as undercooked French fries was kind of like that's the worst possible outcome for that type of cookie. Because
absolutely,
I'm sure that. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm sure that you could make that potato cranberry cookie taste good and have a good texture, but it just didn't work out this time for him.
Yeah, under baking got him again. But when Bruno made that comment about tasting like undercooked French fries, and then he prefaced that with, "Don't take it badly."
Yeah.
How else are you supposed to take a comment like that?
When you hear those words, you just, what, don't say anything after that. I'm going to take it badly, so it's okay.
Yeah. And I'm
No
never going to
offense,
bake
but
this again. So
Yeah. But good
the
on him
look of it.
for being so ambitious with those flavors and those that combination of flavors.
Yeah.
So unfortunately it didn't pan out for him on this one, but I mean it sure was a gorgeous execution
Mhm.
of what he was trying to put together.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Have any of you ever had a tomato cookie?
No.
no.
But you can make a tomato. So what I discovered, it was something that people were passing. It was long before the internet, so it couldn't have been a meme. But people, there was a rumor going around that if you put sugar on tomatoes, that they would taste like strawberries. And so we tried that, and it did. It tasted pretty darn good. So
Really?
yes. So when he was going to do a tomato cookie, I thought, yes, that can translate to a sweet flavor profile.
I went to a restaurant in Montreal. It's Chuck Hughes's restaurant, and it had a tasting menu. And at the end, he had a canned tomato soup cake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was delicious. Like
So we
I
know
thought,
it can work.
That
yeah,
was a thing.
It was
yeah.
a thing. Yeah.
Yep. It was a thing back in
It's
the olden days of the 80s, according to Regin, which was one of my favorite lines of the whole cookie week, to be
Yeah.
honest. That was
Yep.
funny.
The olden days. And
He
if
he
tomato
and Rita
doesn't work,
both he and Rita both looked back and talked about the 80s as the olden days, and
Yes.
oh, I felt a bone creak when they said that.
I
Mhm.
know it
I
hurts.
was a grown up in the 80s.
me too. Yeah,
Okay.
we were, yes,
Well,
I
as much as I
wasn't.
could be a grown up.
yes.
We thought we were
Um,
grown up.
We were adults. Only an adult in the 80s.
I'm the baby here, but yeah, I still remember
Yeah.
the 80s quite vividly.
I was voting in the 80s a lot.
Yeah, I
Like
was not. I was not. Okay, so let's move on to Pamela and her Japan map with the Fuji apple. Here we go. This is what you were talking about, how she tied it in together.
Hmm?
There's so
Yeah.
much thoughtfulness going into Pamela's bakes.
It was beautiful. And yeah, so she had the Fuji apple sugar cookie and the Kanako spice cookie, which is like a roasted soybean. So I'm glad she actually mentioned
Oh,
that
good.
because
Mhm.
that was another one I was going to have to look up.
Yeah.
But so I'm so glad that she did, or that made the edit, I guess, too.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, both those flavors sound really, really interesting and delicious, and I think tied in really well to her map of Japan. And yeah, I thought the execution was pretty sound on that one. It was a solid bake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were both really well baked. She nailed both cookies, they said, although Mount Fuji was not to scale.
But how could you capture the scale of Mount Fuji in cookie form?
You would just make a Mount Fuji cookie. Like
Then
that would be
Yeah,
it.
do like and actually pop it on there.
That'd be the
That
whole
actually would
thing.
have worked. Yeah.
I just
Well,
meant instead of Japan, she would just do Mount Fuji.
no, but she
or
could have done it in a 3D form,
She could have.
right? So she
or
could have
should I get a
done,
Rice Krispie Square?
right.
Yes.
You know,
But like
nothing wrong with a good Rice Krispie Square, especially
there
if
is
you
nothing.
elevate it.
This cookie, I think out of all the cookies, I found that the flavor profiles were like, this is the one I want. Like
Mhm.
all of them. Because even in like the holiday special, when I was doing tarts in the holiday special, I wanted to use the Kanoko roasted soybean, and I tried I tested it about 3 times, and I just could not get it.
Mm.
So kudos on her for being able to
Mm.
bring flavor. And if you've never had it, it is like this nutty, peanut buttery
Mm.
kind of powder, and
Mm.
it's absolutely delicious. But it's not sweet like peanut butter. It's just got this really nutty profile. And the Fuji apple, I don't know how she got that flavor. Like, how do you
Mhm.
get apple flavor into a cookie? I don't get it.
Maybe dried, like a dried
Dried.
apple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there had to have been dried apple
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
Because that sounds crazy delicious.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd be
Mm.
really interested in how she did that also.
Mm.
Yeah. So what was it that when you were doing the Kanako that you couldn't nail?
Well, I did the orange the chocolate orange tofu pie tart,
Mm.
mousse tart, and then I wanted to use the Kanako powder around the edge just to give it a bit of a nutty flavor and to sort of bring in the Asian part of the bake because I was doing a fortune cookie as well.
Mm.
So I wanted it to be more Asian-y and it just couldn't, and I wanted to bring something that maybe the judges have not tried in a bake.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that's just like it just tastes pasty for me.
Hmm.
Couldn't get it to go. Maybe it's because I never used it before and I don't know how to use it.
Hmm.
So, and I was too lazy to look up things. So I just went, screw
Okay.
it. I'm not.
True confession.
It didn't seem to impede your journey in the tent though, right? So I think you're okay.
I was okay.
Yeah, you were okay. You were okay there.
You did all
Yeah.
right.
Sorry. Now back to me. No, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, what would you have done for your cookie map?
Oh,
Oh gosh, I don't even want to think about that.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about it because I'm still recovering from like the mosaic cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big one for
We
sure.
have one more cookie to discuss, and that's Patty's.
Actually, I have
Mhm.
two more
Oh,
because we didn't really talk about Guillaume's flavors at all. We just
okay.
discussed his map, but
That's
go ahead because
Perfect.
we are both, I mean, it's both
They're
brain
both body,
related.
yeah, body parts related. So Patty's brain, which I thought, I mean, look, what an inspiration she is for even being in the tent, having a brain aneurysm. I think it wasn't even that long ago. I think it was like a couple of years ago. And to see her today, and then she'd also a cancer survivor. I mean, how she's even able to do what she does. And not only that, but have such a really positive outlook on life,
Mhm.
and everything. She's just such a joy to have in that tent. And I think with her flavor, she had a salted egg shortbread
yum,
Mhm.
yum.
and the Earl Grey calamassi cookie.
Mhm.
And I think both of them were pretty good. Like the calamassi flavor, I think was good. I think it was just a little light on the Earl
Earl
Grey,
Grey.
I
Yeah.
think is what they were saying. But the salted egg shortbread was pure perfection, according to
Mhm.
the judges. So that would have
Yes.
been an amazing, amazing cookie for sure.
Yeah.
Um, how she executed it, there was a lot
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
And so I think there's something to be said, less is more. Do you know what I mean?
Simplicity. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it could have been better executed. But other than that, I think the flavors were great. I think she did a beautiful job there. It's just again scaling back a little bit.
Yeah, I think sometimes you get stuck in it. You know what your vision is.
Mhm.
So she knew it was a brain, and so she was seeing brain while the rest of us weren't until, like the judges said, Kyla said, I'm glad you said brain because to look at it, I don't see brain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And once you have that in your head as the baker, sometimes you now don't see it, and that's where it's really helpful to show other people and not tell them, what do you see here? Or I know that
Mhm.
even when I give flavors, I'm like, taste this, tell me what you taste.
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
and if they if they tell me exactly what I was intending, great. And if it's like, oh, this is good, this is nutty, I said, excellent, that was supposed to be orange. So the same idea, right?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you see here? If you don't say brain, then okay, what can we do to make this look like a brain?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And because all the different parts, they were supposed to be different lobes of the brain, I
Yeah.
believe, but all of them were like spaced out from each other. So even as a medical professional who knows what a brain looks like and what the different, all the different parts are, I didn't see it. Granted, I was looking down to make notes a lot. Um, and yeah, the cat, I think, I don't know, did they talk earlier about what she was actually making, or was it not until I didn't see that they were talking about a brain at all. I saw that she was baking cats and one of them got absolutely completely flat in the oven there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember them mentioning that it was a brain until we actually got to the judging. So,
Yeah, no, they did. They talked because
okay.
and I remember when they showed the sketch too. And I
Okay.
thought, my first thought was, wow, if they didn't say brain, I don't see a brain there. Even on the
Okay.
sketch, I
So
didn't see the
even the
brain.
sketch.
So
Okay.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Well,
obviously a lot going on in her brain.
Well, we
Yes.
knew that.
well,
Very.
like we when we think of brains, we think of it in a very specific way, right? Because you always see the two lobes, and then you see
And
it's very
squigglies.
squigglies. I mean, even to do that, if you could pipe a cookie dough, right? Like let's say a whipped shortbread,
Mhm.
and did it in squiggles and stuff like that. How cool would that be as a loaf, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And that would really give you the impact of a brain.
Yeah. Especially if it was like almost a 3D. So you had that squiggly part of your brain, and then you actually could lift that off, and then you see all the
my.
parts of the brain.
That's what I was thinking
That.
about. And you have the
Wow.
ventricles and you have the cerebellum and you have everything. That'd be really cool. But it wouldn't really be a map. But it would be.
Well, no,
it would be underneath.
It would be a map. It would be
Yeah.
a map. Yep.
Yeah.
You're
It's
just
thinking
following
outside
along.
the box. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. Oh well.
Oh, oh well, that's a good
Next
Halloween
time.
bake, by the way.
That's
And you
right.
could put
Aye.
like jelly all over it or
Can't
something.
wait for Halloween.
Exactly.
She loves
I
Halloween.
love Halloween.
So I just wanted to touch on Guillaume's flavors as well. So he did a map of the body's reaction to stress. We've discussed that, but he had a cardamom gingerbread and an orange fennel, and the flavors were great. It was a little dark on the orange fennel, but so I know Christina's out when it comes to the orange fennel, but I thought those flavors, and I don't really care for the licorice flavor in bakes usually, but I love Tiger ice cream. So I'm like, I would probably really actually enjoy this taste. No? Everybody's quiet.
I'd be
what
willing,
are you doing? I'm
I'd be
not
willing
by
to-
myself here.
I'd be willing to give it a
Judging
try.
you.
Yeah, there
I
we
would,
go.
because it depends on if that fennel is just going to be an accent,
Mhm.
then it probably would be good. It would accent the orange as opposed to orange accenting the fennel.
Yes. Yeah.
I would give it a try.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, if I had all the cookies to choose from, it would not be the first one I would reach for sure. But
No.
I got to think that it was tasty. I mean,
Yeah.
it worked out for him.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
All day long, though, I will take that ginger or the cardamom gingerbread
Yes.
cookie, though. That sounded absolutely delicious.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good. I love
Mhm.
I love cardamom and I love ginger. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
sounded great.
It's got to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I wrote down Star Baker, Guillaume. I was very excited by that. Not surprised at all. He did a
Yay!
fantastic job. Yay, Vincent! I mean, yay,
There you
Guillaume!
go.
And then for the eliminated person, I actually wrote down Rajan even before
Yeah.
they announced it. Unfortunately, we kind of saw the writing on the wall. I loved the look of his garden, but he didn't have a fantastic baking day.
Yeah. Now, you wonder if he just left his cookies in a smidge longer,
3 minutes.
right? If he
That's
just
all.
did that.
Every cook, 3 minutes. Every bake, 3 minutes. You would have been fine.
Yeah.
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 And we wouldn't have lost you. Oh my God, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I know.
I am so sad that he's gone home and we will not see his fun personality until the finale, which hopefully he's back for.
Oh, he'll
I mean,
he'll be
that's going to leave a giant vacuum of personality from that tent, I'm going to say.
Oh, no kidding. No
His
kidding.
laugh, his laugh was crazy. It was so funny.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Here's another line that I absolutely thought was so Rajan when he said, I admire all the other bakers as much as they admire me.
Yes.
I love that.
I almost began the podcast by saying that about all of you.
Oh.
And I thought, no, that's Rajan's, but
that would hold true for you as well, Stephen.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, 100%.
It was just, I was actually laughing. I couldn't stop. I had to pause the show because I was laughing so hard, and then I stopped laughing and it went through my head again. I started to laugh again. And then as the bake went on, I thought, oh no, I'm not going to get to laugh like that again from Rajan.
I know. I'll so miss
That's
him.
That's gonna be a meme for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, he did he had such a good attitude and so much personality, and even seeing him leave, having him say how he enjoyed every single second that he was there. Yeah, we'll miss you, Rajan. We were really happy to have you.
We will miss you.
And you saw the effect he had on everyone. I mean, Guillaume wins Star Baker and he's crying about Rajan too, right? So and they got to know him a lot more than we did, and we're already feeling it.
I know.
Definitely.
Yeah, feel that emotion.
Yeah.
So much emotion.
He's going to be a fan favorite, that one.
Yeah, which is great. I love it when the people who go home in the early weeks have made such an impression that, you can't help but remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, it
It's a
was a
fun.
good week.
Yeah.
It was.
So
A lot of intricate cookie baking. A little bit more than those scoop and dump chocolate chip cookies that
right.
that we
So,
think of.
so are you guys cookie people?
No.
Yes. Yes and no. I am a drop cookie person.
Mhm.
I do not like royal icing and futzing around with it, and like when we
Mhm.
had to make that mosaic, that you couldn't have asked me to do anything worse, and then I'm having to flood 85 pieces of cookies. But I
Mhm.
love baking. Like, I have my chocolate chip cookie recipe that's what started me with baking, and I
Yeah.
developed, and I actually just changed it again. So it's always evolving and
Yeah.
always changing, but I probably have 12 variations of it too.
Mhm.
And I love those. But if you want me to make you shaped and decorated, and
Yeah.
I know enough people who do that, that is not, no, it's just too much work. But I love cookies. I love eating cookies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Well, you look
decorating
at,
them, not so much.
you look at somebody like, I don't know if you know her, Andrea Witten. I mean, from Instagram, she makes these cookies, and she floods cookies, and they're absolutely incredible. Like, I've never seen any work like that other than what Lisa did for us with the portrait cookies. I mean, it's just, I'm always so impressed by people who can do that, because I can't do that.
There's,
But
yeah.
there's an art to that, like, and to know
Yeah.
the timing of when you, like, how much it needs to dry before you add this, so it actually has a raised ridge, or having it flood in, and blah blah blah. Like, everything that I do is just, it's all flooded in, it's just flat. So good on people who can do that. But for
Mhm.
me, cookies are sort of a thing that I love to be able to do, because I don't have to get out of my pajamas to go get them. I could just go into the pantry, grab some flour, grab some, eggs, and just whip up a batch of cookies and throw them in
Mhm.
the oven. And half an hour later, you got fresh made cookies. And there's nothing like a fresh made cookie, right? But I'm with
Mhm.
Steve. I mean, I don't break out like the royal icing unless I have to. Sandwich cookies are like, forget about it. But I
Icebox
make
cookies, you want to make those?
never again, never again. But I do this one carrot cake
Mhm.
sandwich cookie with the cream cheese icing. Like, it's delicious, but too much
Sounds
work.
amazing.
So much work, you know? Just give me a chocolate chip cookie, I'm good.
That's
Yeah.
why when I make my cookies, I weigh them, I scoop them, I ball them, I
Mhm.
freeze them, and then
Me
I
too.
vacuum seal them. And then in
Yeah.
my freezer is always dozens of uncooked cookies, and I can just, if people come over, okay, I'll take three, I'll put them in. I know exactly. I bake all my cookies from frozen. I know exactly how long they take, and they're perfect.
Only
I
3
just
cookies, Stephen?
Well,
Wow.
if there's three people, well, my cookies are also a quarter pound each.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
my chocolate chip cookies are, once I put that last piece of chocolate after they come out of the oven, that brings them to an even 100 and I think between 110 and 115 grams.
Wow.
That's crazy.
No, it's
That's a big,
That's a big cookie, man.
big bleep
yeah,
cookie.
it's
Yeah.
He's the cookie king, I guess.
I
it's
do regular sized cookies, man.
those are regular size cookies.
How big is your
Strong.
cup? Like, Colin?
He has a butter freezer and a cookie freezer,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
obviously. And Lisa, you're a cookie expert on the,
Not
well,
at all. No, and I don't really like cookies. So this recent discovery of doing cutout sugar cookies or gingerbread cookies and decorating them with royal icing, that's very new for me. And I'm discovering that I really enjoy it. It feels like sitting down and doing a puzzle or crafting or something. I can have a TV show going in the background and just kind of play with it. So it's not something that I've done very much, but it is something that I'm learning that I enjoy. But I don't like eating cookies. No,
Hmm.
no. Not interested in cookies. I'll eat your cookies, Stephen. Wait, I'll eat one of, if you
One?
give me a cookie, I will eat
Wait a minute,
it.
Here we go again. Not one of you, it's the other one.
It comes out of your mouth and then you're like, wait, stop. Take it back. Yeah. Cristina, you make some beautiful cookies. Not the same kind
Not
of
sugar,
cookies.
not decorated sugar cookies, as you well know.
That's not her
That's not
area
my
of
forte.
expertise. Macarons are cookies.
But
They are.
yeah, macarons, if you classify those as cookies, some people do. But my favorite cookie is actually a drop cookie as well. And I do a caramel apple snickerdoodle oatmeal cookie, which is really good. And I make mine actually mini. So I love small cookies, really, because they're easier to eat. And there's maybe less guilt if you just want to have just a little something sweet, and they fit into a cookie jar much better than big, half
We've got the
pounders,
two extremes
quarter
here.
pounders. So, but yeah, but it's a good bite. And for my apples, I use a dried apple.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
it's
where you're gonna
brilliant.
get flavor.
Such a nice flavor. Yeah.
Try dehydrated apples. Not like powdered apples.
Not powdered apple, no, like dried apples. Like
Yeah.
you can oven dry them even if you wanted to, or
Like
if you
the
had
rings?
a dehydrator. Yeah, you
Okay.
could buy apple rings. Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yep.
So you're the McDonald's little mini cookie box, and Steve's the quarter pounder.
Yes. If we were going to use
Although
McDonald's analogy.
Tied McDonald's in somehow.
I do make a ginger snap molasses that is like a bite-sized cookie.
Oh,
Because that's just to make that big, it's just too much ginger and it packs a punch. They're good though. Oh, they're really good with exactly 4 white chocolate chips that go on top after they come out of the oven.
I like that white chocolate with the ginger molasses.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice touch.
All right.
Okay, I'm hungry again. How about you guys?
I know. And next week is savory week. Oh my gosh. I am so excited about it. I love savory bakes.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it could be anything because that opens the door to anything they want to make. Just make it savory, right?
Right? Yeah.
I'm thinking there might be some bread involved since, we haven't seen a bread yet.
I
No.
haven't seen
We're
a
gonna
bread yet.
be chefy in the tent.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. And I wonder what the technical is going to be.
Yeah.
Savory technicals have always been a bit challenging, I think. They had that one which was the dumplings that one time.
Oh my gosh. My favorite ever. I make those all the time. The garden dumplings. I love them so much. I had never had gyoza before. And then after I had those dumplings, and I'm like, oh, this is what a dumpling is.
So good.
I'm obsessed with them now. So good.
They are good.
Yes. Yeah. I actually made a big friend of mine was having a birthday, and she asked me if I could make some of those dumplings for her birthday. So I made some, but I also made a cake that was like this big in the shape of the garden dumpling and served it alongside. She was appreciative. I don't remember the flavors or anything, but yeah, it was kind of fun. Well, thank you all for being here this week, for taking time out of this busy Thanksgiving weekend to watch the show in a hurry and to jot down some notes and being willing to come and chat about it. I appreciate you all so much. Let's see if that works with the heart. No, I can't get it. When
I've never made this before. Can you tell?
There we go.
There's always a first time, Steve.
So have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much. And we'll see you all here next week for Savory.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Thank you.
So grateful for the 3 of you, and so grateful to everybody who's out there watching us as well. Thanks.
Thanks. Happy baking.
Happy baking.
Happy baking, all.